Aloha, nerds. Welcome back to the Salawag's White Great. Aloha. What's up with you motherfuckers? How you doing? Let's get into this shit. Aloha, nerds, and welcome back to the Salawag's White Great Gut Reaction, where I watch things react from the gut. I just saw the season 3 finale of Doom Patrol. I love Doom Patrol. For those who do not know, this show is available on HBO Max. Previously, it was supposed to be the DC Universe app, featured show, but now is just one of many great features on HBO Max. I love Doom Patrol. I love Legion. I love these slightly weird, but not necessarily David Lynch weird superhero movies and shows. That's just kind of my thing. I really enjoyed that level of weird where you get the right amount of action and fantasy and fun and winking at the audience when it's appropriate. And Doom Patrol is 100% one of those shows. That kind of the weird redheaded stepchild of Mel Brooks, I would call this type of show. Much like Legion, which I would say is the adopted psychotic child of Mel Brooks. When we're talking about superheroes. But I love Doom Patrol. From season 1, the story of Cliff Steele, who was a race car driver, got in a horrible accident, and when he woke up, he was only a brain instead of a robot body. And from the very first episode, seeing that actual story played out as a whole, complete story, very cinematically told. I mean, on the level of like Talladega Nights, which had, although it was a comedy, had fantastic car footage and really fantastic cinematography. You have that type of story up front at the beginning of season 1, and how he becomes a part of this household of these other seemingly immortal beings who seem to live really long periods of time without aging. And you're not quite sure exactly what's going on with all these people, but Cliff is our window into the Doom Patrol, which is what this group of people living in a mansion somewhere around New York. Sound familiar? With an old man in a wheelchair giving them orders. Timothy Dalton, one of the best James Bonds ever. Yeah, goddamn right. So you got this weird cast of characters. Rita Farr, who can stretch her limbs any length, but also has this weird melty quality where she can just become sort of this weird blob. You got the Negative Man, played by Matt Bomer, fantastic actor. We mostly hear his voice. I'm not sure if it's actually the actor underneath the bandages that make him. Jane, by Diana Guerrero. Ooh, crazy Jane. Many different personalities come out of that woman, and every single one is awesome and fun. And now my favorite Cyborg. Zack Snyder's Cyborg was my favorite at first, and then I definitely by season 3, watching the journey of Cyborg, who in season 1 is this almost not quite a caricature. He really is this goofy teenage-ish, college-ish superhero, Teen Titan, Justice League guy, and even Doom Patrol makes fun of him for being part of the Justice League, but not actually. But why are you hanging out here if you're part of the Justice League? And the show does a great job of answering that question. Each one of these people has some kind of deformity or something unfortunate about them, that even though they're immortal, they don't really enjoy their immortality because they, for one reason or another, feel like the right thing for them to do and the best thing for them to do is to stay hidden in this mansion away from the rest of the world. And the show is about these people breaking out into the world and what happens, and they're a quasi-superhero team. They're not exactly superheroes, but they are at the same time superhuman beings who try to achieve or try to protect people from harm's way from time to time. Season 1, I think, in many ways is the best in terms of cinematography and really pushing storytelling limits for what you can do with these characters while still being this what feels like a cinematic film that could be something made by the Coen brothers or Sam Raimi. It really feels like a zany, crazy, beautiful, wonderful movie that happens to be a television show. And then when you get to season 2, it's just kind of sorry, hearing the sounds of my family. That would be my nephew. Getting into season 2 is just a continuation of that, and seeing the characters sort of butt heads against each other and have their little mini grudges that they have from living together with each other for so long, and never really trying to interact too much with each other, which is interesting and sad. But by the time we get to season 3, one of the best relationships across the show in season 3 is between Cliff Steele, Robot Man, and Crazy Jane, who Cliff Steele immediately kind of looks at Crazy Jane as this kind of daughter figure to himself, because when he was a man, a human flesh and bone and blood man, he had a family and he had a daughter who he neglected many, many times so that he could party and rush off and do whatever he wanted to do that he felt was important to himself. He was an alcoholic and a cheater and really cheated his family a lot. He was a crappy human being. And when he sees Crazy Jane and she has all these problems, but she's about the age that his daughter should be, he has this need to improve himself and be better and prove to her that he could be like a father to her. And, it's an interesting journey because in her case, she has a very diabolical relationship with her birth father. And there's sort of the reason that she's kind of psychotic and crazy and isolated and always going off and doing drugs. There's just such a sad story behind her character, that to even have someone suggest the idea they want to be her father figure and look out for her is so extremely dangerous for her because of her particular character's history. I don't want to get into it because the show, if you haven't seen the show, you should see it that way. But seeing them sort of butt heads and slowly, eventually reach a point where essentially by season 3, they're bros, they're buddies, they're tight, like that. And they are both kind of assholes who treat people however they kind of feel like they need to treat them. Not necessarily bad to people, but they'll say whatever the hell comes out of their mouth, no matter how awful. And in that manner, they become literally buddies. It never quite melds into exactly the father-daughter. But, Cliff, on his own journey, mini spoilers, discovers his daughter across the show. And again, season 3 we're getting to the point where he's discovered his actual daughter. He's trying to form a relationship with her, and the struggle of that is really fun. Vic, who I gotta say, I was not expecting to love Joyvan Wade so much, because I really loved Ray Fisher, even though all I had was the Whedonverse when season 1 came out. I thought Ray Fisher's Cyborg was something I really related to in a just kind of a direct way. I just felt like this is the statuesque superhero that should be a Justice League team member, Cyborg, standing next to the rest of the Justice League. And also that, man, he just expressed so much with so little, in very much the old school actor kind of way. And Joyvan Wade plays a very different version of Cyborg, which is much more of a Teen Titan-y type of Cyborg. He feels like he comes off of Teen Titans, and his cyber tech is very cool looking, but when you see him next to this grungy punk rock band that is the Doom Patrol, he looks kind of dorky, and the team gives him shit for it. He's kind of funny because he's actually the coolest, most heroic member of the team, but he's the coolest, most heroic person in a group of assholes, and the assholes don't care that he's a nice guy. They think he's a dweeb for being a nice guy. Like, get out of here, go do your superhero crap somewhere else. So it's kind of interesting to see. It's like the story of the little good boy who has really good intentions, but wants to hang out with these kind of scrappy-do weirdos who don't think very much of him, but not for any, racial reason or anything with him, even though he's, being black, but just because he's plucky and he's happy and he has like a nice good heart, and they kind of just are like, ugh, what's wrong with you? Don't you understand the world sucks? You know what I mean? So it's interesting seeing every single character. I really love this character because I think I relate to him in that kind of way. I think in my heart, I'm an innocent, well-meaning person. I know on the outside, I think I'm totally more like Cliff Steele or Clay or Crazy Jane sometimes, in terms of sometimes stuff comes out of my mouth, and I'm just like, oh, why did I say that? Or when I'm messaging or commenting, I'm like, oh, why did I do that? That's too much. But in my heart, I feel like I'm much more of this innocent intended person who always means well, and is always kind of bumping against people who are kind of like, why, you're weird, that's odd, and on my end, what do you mean, why is it odd to be a nice person who means well? So Cyborg, in every single angle, that's really season one. Season one is attacking like the superficial presentation Cyborg has, and season two is about asking Cyborg to confront himself, like, who are you? And he thinks he has the answer by the end of season two, but what I like about season three is that they're really trying to like shake him down and say, who actually are you? Are you this half man, half robot thing? Are you a teenage-ish kind of guy in a modern world? Are you really a hero, or are you, something else? And I like that his character's always kind of been this slight offshoot of the rest of the group, because he really belongs with Teen Titans and Justice League, but because he's also this kind of deformed person, even though he looks slick, that's the part of him that relates to these people, because he has this serious damage and this serious suffering and pain that he's been going through that really only these people can relate to. Batman's a little too far gone to relate to. The Batman doesn't do the relating very well. And then Superman's just a little too idealistic to talk to. And then Wonder Woman is... Let's face it. You hope to God she never wraps that rope around you, because you will say things that you wish you never said, because that's all just running through your head when you're talking to this woman. So Cyborg cannot talk to the Justice League. He needs to hang out with these goofy-ass weirdos who are all troubled, and in their case, their troubles are face front. They cannot hide their troubles, and that is exactly how Cyborg feels about himself. So I really love the arcs that they took with his character in this show, because we get to a point where this show has such a series long gag of every time these guys step out to do something super heroic, they really fail or struggle or fall on their face. And really, because their heart is never exactly in the right place, they don't quite win. But what's great about this season is that they have little victories that are actually more heroic in this season, because they actually are working together for the first time on purpose, and not just as a dramatic reaction to what's going on. So it's very cool to watch the growth of the group in that regard. Matt Bomber is fantastic. His character, who in the beginning, this closeted Air Force guy, we just get more layers unveiled to his character. I feel like his character is always kind of consistent with what's going on with him, and it's just kind of nice that this show gives him some room to breathe and get his stuff out in the air. So that's really cool. And Rita Farr, who is just so lovely, from Vallejo, California, not far from San Francisco. Just fantastic. I remember seeing her. I had a buddy who watched Drop Dead Gorgeous and all that stuff. He was gay, so we watched Queer Eye, the straight guy. He was the one who provided the food and the rides, so there's no way I'm gonna not let him watch his favorite shows when we're smoking weed and eating food. But Rita Farr is in that show. I think she's the best friend who helps out the main actress in Drop Dead Diva. Not the one with the lawyer. I'm forgetting the title. But I do remember that actress being very good. And then I was so surprised when, this is the same actress? I love Rita Farr. And Rita Farr gets, in many ways, the best story, because it's kind of the most fun and the most odd and the most twisted. And you're like, this character is going through some weird emotional changes because of the epic nature of her journey. And I really love seeing her journey from being an actress in the 30s or 40s, or 50s, I forget the exact era, in the past, and her struggles with, creepy Hollywood producers and all that stuff, and she herself was racist as hell when she was a popular, famous actress. And you see her, when she relates to Cyborg, there's no racism. She's totally cool. She's kind of understood what she was in the past, and she treats him fairly. But I definitely feel in season 1, you feel her baggage about it when she talks to Cyborg, because you understand that she, you know, has overcome a huge thing, but that huge thing is still something that she's dealing with. And season 1 deals with that a lot. And it's cool to see season 3 actually, now that we've had 2 seasons of her dealing with her baggage and how she got there, see her try to live a life. Season 3 is really cool because all the characters are coming to terms with themselves in really fun, beautiful ways. And this season, I gotta say, seems to be the lowest budget season, because we got a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking, a lot of walking in the woods, a lot of walking and talking around the mansion. They clearly hoarded their budget for the last 2 episodes. I mean, there's my favorite episode of this season is the Werebutts versus Zombies episode. I loved that. I gotta say, since we did not get a revival in season 2, my favorite thing they did ever was Steel and Stone, the Cliff Steele and Victor Stone as detective superheroes, but also in a cheesy 60s TV show. Great gag. It was like a little video that was 5 minutes long. We deserved a sequel video to that, and I demand that from you guys. God damn it. But since we didn't get that, I have to say, watching the Doom Patrol, and I think it's about episode 4, watching the Doom Patrol turn into brain-craving zombies, fighting werewolves. They're not werewolves, they're werebutts. Werebutts that were revealed in season 1 or season 2, I forget exactly. I think it was season 1. The werebutts. These little butts with arms, but the butts open up in our mouths and they jump and try to eat you. Just seriously. I mean, the presentation of their introduction was all I needed to just love the universe this is in, but to have the werebutts come back and have it actually be a battle with the Doom Patrol as zombies, just as a nerd who loves zombies and just that level of weird, goofy irreverence, I was so happy. That was so much fun. This season has so many great moments, especially the zombie Doom Patrol versus Werebutt army. The level of violence. Having Vic as a zombie go, "You motherfucker, blah blah blah. Oh wait, I never cursed this much before I was a zombie." And you just kind of see this, the man is starting to emerge from the child. And that's Victor Stone's journey. And really all their journey. They're finally coming to terms with who they are and taking the next step forward. And season 3 is very much like when you've known friends for a long time and all of a sudden your friends have kids. Literally, that's what's going on with Matt Bomer's character. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Where Negative Man somehow produces a child, or Negative Spirit guy somehow produces a child larva that has an electricity baby in it that is the Negative Spirit's. I guess it's him and the Negative Spirit's child or something. So that's something. Why did I bring that up? No, well, literally, with that character, you're seeing him become a father again. And so you're seeing him start a new life and a new chapter and deal with the sort of foibles of trying to be a dad in this season, which is filled with so much other wild stuff and characters coming to terms with their inner selves. Literally, that's an entire episode as well. This is the weirdest show of all time that I've watched, and I love it. I love this show so much. The fact that we can have these... I'm from San Francisco. San Francisco is a weird place with a lot of emotional, strange, many very nice people. But what I love about Doom Patrol is, in many ways, I feel like it's San Francisco rolled into a television show. Because, especially with Danny, the teleporting living street, you know, and it's a street that's basically that teleports itself around the world to just to stay safe and to avoid being messed with by strangers. Danny the Street is mostly a place with a lot of homosexuals or LGBTQ people, and it's very much for me like, oh, like the Castro district of San Francisco, where that's where you find those people. And in many ways, I feel like the mansion is like when you go to school in San Francisco. It's very mixed. A lot, you just get all the races. It's very, very mixed up. Now, some schools maybe have more of one race than another, but for the most part, you're going to see every single skin color in a San Francisco public school, and everyone bouncing up against each other realizes, oh, we all like the same things, and okay, cool. We are people, cool. All right, school spirit, yeah. And that's kind of the vibe of the Doom Patrol. Like, okay, we're all different. Each one of us really has our own style and our own way, and none of us quite fits with the other. We are not uniform. We're not the X-Men, a bunch of, skinny CrossFit, you know, preteens and guys in their 20s who, why are you hanging out with these teenagers? But all in uniform suits. The Doom Patrol is all the wacky wild cards rolled into one. And their stories are oddball, are kind of taboo. That's the best thing about this show, is that it's all about our taboos and all of our fears and all the things we sweep under the rug. Very much about real life people. Like, I really related to the characters of this show, who were so much like either people I knew or just related to aspects of myself. Like, I really related to Cliff Steele and his whole struggle of feeling like this robot who can't feel anything but does have feelings, and he's just trying to confront that, and having this kind of past that he regrets. I may only be turning 32 soon, but I've totally made mistakes and fumbled the ball too many times in such big ways, ruining big games for myself. And I just look back and I'm like, what was wrong with me back then? Seriously, what was wrong? And I love that about Doom Patrol, that's what these guys are dealing with. So season 3, fantastic. Mostly spoiler free. Love it for season 3 of Doom Patrol. I cannot wait for season 4. I'm glad it was a season finale. The introduction of Madame Rouge, I love that actress. The final episode in the giant robot, that's all I'm going to say. Love this actress. Love this woman. She turns into a bird and she turns into an ottoman. Freaking love it. I love this whole show. Thank you to the cast and crew who made this. I've got the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray. I still haven't watched them yet, but god damn it, I love it. Keep making weird stuff. I love this weird stuff. It's my kind of weird. Weird, but fun. So, aloha nerds. Remember, don't like, don't subscribe, and don't comment.